many concerts do you play a year back when things are normal?
About 50, maybe 40, 50.
So that's like one concert a week?
Well, it really varies. Sometimes we have like five in a week, but sometimes we have like none in 2 weeks. So it really varies.
And so what do you think about that concert load in terms of like the amount of time it takes up and the number you're playing per year per month?
I think I'm okay. I don't think I am at full capacity. Like, if you were to challenge me with more concerts, I probably can do it. But, you know, the concert days is not all that's involved in making those concerts happen. We usually have to be on location to rehearse and get things ready about 2 to 3 days before each concert, average. And the rest of the time, we also have to do a lot of personal preparation, like practicing, studying the score, getting the music together, getting all the travel logistics. Figure all that out. So when the concerts happen, everything goes smoothly. So there's a lot of work that goes into the once a week. And if anything, I actually would love more family time, because if the concerts, it's a good living that I already make, I don't feel like I need to play more, but I would be happy to spend more time with my family.
So how many concerts have you played since the pandemic has started now that we're in about exactly a year now?
Just kidding. um, I can count with two hands, and just once. Probably about 7, 8, or 9. Who cares? I mean, unless each one pays like $10,000, there's no difference between 7 and 9. To be honest, I mean, none of it's gonna pay enough to put food on the table or pay rent. I mean, thankfully that your job is still functioning. So, you know,
So I know that teaching is still going reasonably strong out there for students and things like that. Why don't you focus more of your energy and attention on that?
well, there was a time I taught a little more, but I never really taught full time, like a full living, just teaching, because I really treasure the performance part, and then I really want to invest most of my energy in it. So I never really teach enough to make a full living. But I don't think there's enough students looking for teachers out there for all the musicians out of work right now. So, um, yeah, I mean, plus there are a lot of people that their job is teaching. If we're out of work, we especially shouldn't go out there to take jobs from the people that still have some work. And and I'm kind of one of the more fortunate ones. Your job's still functioning, so basically, like, I don't struggle with putting food on the table. And if there's anyone who would especially need that teaching money right now, it should be those musicians that actually are the sole financial support of their family. So I just wouldn't feel right taking jobs from people who invested their whole lives in it, and or to fight these jobs with people that truly need it.
It's great to have that level of empathy when things are going this sideways, but I know just because food's on the table, it doesn't mean you're not suffering quite a bit.
Well, I can't even begin to, I talked to some of my friends, and, just to be sure that I am not crazy, or I'm not just feeling entitled or ungrateful. But there is definitely a collective consensus of this this difficulties, because like, some of them describe like their spouse says that they are in a plant like state, and another one's talking about how they have began and quit about a million hobbies and projects. Another one is like, well, they're just home not knowing what to do and irritable. And so basically, like, we have exhausted probably all options to keep our spirit up, keep feeling positive, do empowering things, empower others, do something productive. But I think deep down, we can't help but feel this great loss.
So, loss of what exactly?
I don't know, but I think we all feel just powerless.
So, is this what you're playing this weekend?
Yes.
I remember you playing this 2 to 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah. There was a festival that actually asked me to premiere this a few years ago, and it's possible that that was still the only performance of this piece that's ever been done. Um, so I've wanted to bring this back because after evaluating my performance before, I felt like my approach might have been a little limiting in some ways, and I would like to maybe improve on it.
What do you mean, limiting in what way?
Well, you know how I often think that sometimes a person's strength um, might also have an outlet that's a weakness, turns into a weakness. And, like, for example, if you're a perfectionist, very often you can be someone that maybe takes fewer risks or maybe less spontaneous. And sometimes I'm like that. I try to watch out for it a little bit. So, so in terms of this piece, it's a little bit of a juggle between because as a musician we often have to see what's on the music and then have to take it in, but at the same time we sometimes also have to turn it into a message or maybe a feeling, an expression. So it's sort of like you have to be literal but also not too literal when you're not supposed to be. So it's always a juggle. And so the first part of this piece is that verklempt, and then, the word itself means choked up, and feel very emotional that you're speechless. Um, but this word actually means so much more to us. There's a place in the whole history of music that's attached to this word that is incredibly meaningful, which is in Beethoven's Opus 130 string quartet. So when Beethoven wrote this word in this piece, and it's the only time he's ever used it, and this place is just breathtaking and a heartbreaking place in music that you cannot be unchanged after you listen to it. When you see this word again as a musician, not just you, but you're also thinking maybe the composer of this piece used this word because of that moment in music that has shaken us and changed us so much. So anyway, so I think back then when I saw this word, I have lots of feelings about what this word means, and then so I've taken it very far, and it's possible that I might have missed out on some other qualities that are also very important about this. Like for example, this piece was inspired by this Arabic secular music genre that is usually accompanied by poetry. So it's very important to have a certain kind of flow in the delivery, the rhythm between sentences. So maybe give it a little bit more of a dancier and a little lilting, grooving quality to it. We'll see on Sunday or Saturday.
All right. Hey, Cindy, what are you doing over there?
I'm looking something up about what to do in the game. And I'm actually doing it the right way because last time I paused to do something and my character got killed. So now I'm just hanging out in the house where I'm protected and sheltered.
I see. So I've noticed this is a little bit of a theme. You like to watch videos online to learn how to play games rather than just kind of casually playing and figuring it out as you go.
Well, I you're right. I enjoy figuring things out sometimes, maybe more than the actual act of playing itself. I don't know. I just, that I love getting to know how to do something well. And I think that's also why my favorite kind of game is RPG, where it's all about leveling up your character and building up your skills and collecting lots of things. I just, I love collecting lots of cheese wheels and mushrooms and berries. And so I have a lot of them in the game.
I noticed. So what's your least favorite type of game?
Well, I really don't like to be a criminal in the game. Well, I don't like it when people are just constantly chasing after me and then there's a bounty or hunting me down and everybody hates me. I might be a good guy, doing criminal things sometimes, but I don't like to be the criminal. It's just too messy.
So you like to be like the hero or the good guy?
Well, not necessarily. It's more like I would prefer to be a free thinking, neutral guy that possibly does good things for rewards. It's about the rewards. It's like I can save a whole village, but in the end it's all about what they're giving me for saving their village. And so, it's about collecting the rewards.
I'm starting to see another recurring theme here about collecting things.
Well, it's about being resourceful when situations happen. Sometimes game quests, there might be a quest of someone needing 500 mushrooms out of nowhere. And I don't like the feeling of suddenly having to go find 500 mushrooms. I like to have those 500 mushrooms to give this guy so I can sort of, casually just. So in general, I just keep collecting in case it comes in handy. I think that's why it's about being resourceful and have all the power and stuff you have to deal with situations.
So do you think what you're like in games is at all related to the person you are in real life?
Yeah, now I think of it, it's true. It's reminding me of what a friend of mine has talked about the difference between people who love music and people who are musicians, because people who love music might not necessarily love the process of building up to be able to perform, or everything that takes to have the skills to handle everything that comes with the performing life. And yeah, I think that's very much like me. And but then, like the pandemic, it's like it's actually like me in the game, because a lot of times like I would end up with like a whole closet of cheese wheels and mushrooms, and then there's no situation to use them. So yeah, exactly.
The two pieces this week were both reflective and kind of sad. Is that because of how you feel?
No, not at all. I mean, it's a myth that people think we're expressing ourselves in the music. We actually have to express and portray what the music is asking for. So it just happened that the pieces are a little reflective and sad, but well, but I would be lying if I said that I didn't especially resonate a little bit with the feelings. Yeah, I felt kind of authentic sometimes to the pieces I was playing.
I remember in part of your introduction to Saturday's piece that the people the piece is about are looking for something lost, but instead, through the process, they find themselves empowered by the connection and unity they feel with each other. Am I mistaken, or you seem moved by talking about that?
Yeah, I was suddenly caught by my emotions, and as I was talking about it, and maybe it's because that subconsciously is my hope in doing this myself, that while trying to get something back and maybe by surprise get something significant instead.
And I mean, I think I can already see some of these significant things starting to happen since you started to play every weekend.
Really? Like what?
For instance, you're finally letting yourself talk about how you're feeling about all this.
I thought you were going to say that I practice more. Well, yeah, I guess I was never that good at expressing how I really feel, and I guess I always use humor to bypass.